My name's Paul. I'm a beekeeper. I live in Tuckerton. I live right across the creek from the seaport. And this is Mother Eve. She helps me with the bees. You say hi to the camera?
Hi, camera.
So I started beekeeping because I watched a movie about bees and I got very interested in them. Plus, I like to eat honey, so now I have all the honey I can eat. There are 50,000 bees in a beehive. Most of the bees in there are girls, and they do all the work. They make all of the honey. In the winter time, they kick all the boys out, and all the boys die.
All the boys die?
Boys die.
Why do they do that?
They don't like them. So there's only one queen per hive, and she can live for up to 7 years, where most bees only live for 5 months. The bees need us to plant a lot of flowers to help them live. I use smoke to keep the bees nice and calm for when they go in the hive. So these are all girl bees. All of that is brood. That's the baby bees that they're raising. That's all the baby bees, and there's a little bit of honey right in there. This is just wild comb that they made themselves. Comb is beeswax. It takes something like 10 pounds of honey to make 1 pound of beeswax. And that's all honey there. She's bigger than all the other bees. And only one in the entire hive. There's only one queen in the entire hive. She can live up to 7 years, and workers can only live about 5 to 6 weeks. The queen is the only bee that eats a diet of royal jelly throughout her entire life, and she'll eat her body weight in royal jelly every single day. She can lay up to 1,500 eggs every single day. She only leaves the hive once, and that is to go on a mating flight.
Alright, so now that you know a little bit more about beekeeping and flowers' purpose, we're going to take apart a flower to learn the different parts. So if you have flowers in your yard or in a garden, you could pick one and take it apart. If not, you could just kind of take your sheet and look at a flower and leave it in the ground and kind of color in the different parts when you find them. But I'm going to take apart this lily here and try to find all these different parts. So I'll have my sheet here ready. If you didn't get our craft kit, our sheet, you can pause the video, maybe write down the different parts. So first, let's look. I definitely see the petals, so let's take those off.
These are the petals.
And the petals have polka dots on them.
They do. This is the stamen. The whole thing is called the stamen.
Yeah,
This part of the stamen is called the anther, and this is the filament. What were you going to say?
These petals have one of these things on them.
They do, little spikies.
Yeah, it's
In the center is the stigma, this whole part here. The middle is the style, and the top is the stigma. When a bee lands on a flower, the pollen on the flower sticks to the bee.
Yeah, and they can bring it back home.
They can bring it back home, or they can bring it to another flower and pollinate the other flower with the pollen from the first flower. So the flower also produces nectar
From the bees.
which the bees take, and they take the nectar from the flower and they bring it home.
And they're going to like to eat this flower.
And they turn the nectar into honey, right?
Yeah.
Once your parts are all labeled, you could finish the coloring sheet. Also, another thing you could do is dry out your flower. So I took off all the petals, so I could kind of put these to where they're flat, and then put another piece of paper and then like a heavy book on top to keep them kind of smushed in there and let them dry out for maybe a few days. I could use them in a craft project, or maybe you'll find a place in one of these other videos where you want to use those to decorate something. So that's a way that we can not waste this flower, right, we used to learn about. we could also kind of keep it and use it in another way as well.